And what's good, everybody? Thanks for tuning into Rarity Games. We're going to be talking a little bit about Star Wars Fallen Order today and some of our expectations for it. It's looking like a fantastic game. It's going to be canon, which is going to be awesome. So my boy Eric and I are going to get into it and just tell you a little bit about that today. So some of the things we're looking for with it is going to be an action-adventure type game that we absolutely love.
Oh my God.
Almost in the vein of like an Uncharted style, third-person, over-the-shoulder, Souls-like, which is going to be awesome. It's going to have a real physical, kind of chunky combat, which is something I'm personally looking forward to.
Oh my God, it's gonna be so good. So you can definitely expect a God of War-esque game, with fluid combat, but more technical on the Dark Souls side, I'd say.
Yeah, it seems like there are definitely going to be force powers in the game, so you're going to have to interact with your environment in interesting ways to do things, kind of Uncharted-esque, but your combat is predominantly going to be lightsaber based and kind of melee dodge based,
and super dodging and blocking is an emphasis in this, and you want to make sure that you're staying on point instead of hacking and slashing. It's a very technical and dodgy game
in that Dark Souls God of War style combat, which is going to be awesome. Also in that kind of God of War inspired feel, even though Star Wars has had it a lot longer, the lightsaber throw. You're eventually going to be through the skill tree with that kind of action-adventure skill tree system, be able to upgrade the force powers, and that crunchy lightsaber throw as you just whip it and mow down and have that recall with the force.
Dude, and the way, if you've played God of War, the way that the blades feel and the axe, the range and that distance you can get to the enemy is going to be, crucial in this game with the force and with you, wrapping around the lightsaber, pulling dudes in, time stopping. The force abilities are going to be a huge emphasis on the way you play the game.
And the upgrade system looks like, from the screenshots we've seen, very Souls-ish. For the weapon system.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Where you're going to be able to slot items, and your lightsaber's modular, where you add components to maybe change the blade length or the type of damage,
and different
or the stability.
Colors, of course, which is awesome.
And
we get
to
change colors,
different lightsaber hilts and styles. And I highly believe you could see some maybe Kylo Ren style, where it's got the sides coming out, or even like a Darth Maul double one. There's really a lot of options
cool
to see how they can go.
If they go play into that well, that'd be really nice. Definitely gonna, like I said, gonna see a skill tree style base game though as well, on the other end of it, and you're gonna as in point system, you're getting your abilities elsewhere, which we're gonna talk about. And you do that at the meditation stones, which are kind of like your Dark Souls. I was just gonna say, and you go. Oh yeah, to upgrade your skill tree, all that, get your ability points. But to earn those abilities themselves, moving on to something else we can expect from the game is dungeons, like Legend of Zelda, Uncharted style dungeons. They're gonna be the type that you gotta get through these crazy puzzle-esque, almost Assassin's Creed, those churches that you're climbing in,
where you're
jumping
interacting
from area to area, interacting with the environment with the Force, and probably using some of that new ability to get through some of the maze, and you're earning your Force abilities and different tactics from these dungeons.
And then in that same token, later on in the game, because it is a multi-world space traveling game, at some point you do acquire a ship, or you're part of some kind of transportation system. You can go back to previously beaten dungeons with new abilities and unlock areas, and maybe kind of force jump to an area that you couldn't access before, or maybe pull the roof down with a pole, something of that nature, where you're able to replay an area to unlock additional items and additional experience, because there is an experience system based in this game.
As we were saying, it's that's one of the other major things to expect. It's gonna be an almost Metroidvania-esque style game. A lot of people mentioned the way the map is. It looks very Metroid, and then the backtracking, as he just mentioned, coming back in like you did in those games back in the day, making sure you hit everything twice, 3 times over to make sure you get everything, and that's awesome. Going back from the end of the game back to the beginning,
and looking for the visual cues of there's something cool in the distance or off in the horizon. Those are I tried to use my force push on, but it wouldn't work, so I know I have to come back and try something else later. And I think that's a really awesome nod to the older style of games that really got us all. Vince Zampella over at Respawn clearly putting a lot of thought, heart, and soul into this one. So really looking forward to that.
It's definitely going to be overall just I'm very excited in general about this one. Like, and the best thing to look forward to, in my opinion, and I'm sure yours, being a Star Wars fan as much as you are, is this is going to be completely canon.
Yep.
Like, and this is something you can fully expect to be detailed and handled with care, because Lucasfilms is involved in dealing with the people over at Respawn to make sure that the lore and everything is clean.
So it had to go through the Lucasfilm story group over there with Pablo Hidalgo, who runs that. So it has to tie in with everything. It can't conflict with another character on another planet at another time. So that being said, it's going to tie in a lot of kind of the hard canon and really the lore that the Star Wars fans love, but in the same token, they are going to get to introduce a little bit into this and paint kind of a little larger picture with some new worlds, maybe some new types of weapons, and supposedly there's going to be a new type of stormtrooper as well called a plague trooper. How that plays into the story, I guess we're going to be finding out. But it takes place between episodes 3 and 4, and it's with the kind of post-Order 66, after the Emperor uses the clones to wipe out the Jedi, so the Stormtroopers are fully in effect. This is several years after Return of the Sith, and or Revenge of the Sith, I should say.
Perfect, the story, like where it's gonna hit, like everyone loves that era, you know, like it's definitely a favorite.
It's also playing in an era that Star Wars has played with before, with Rebels that we saw about 5 or 6 years ago, and Rogue One, absolutely. So we're going to see
coming in from different shows and movies, some
different shows, different movies, some different influences. We're going to probably see some cameos. I would not be surprised at all to see oh, you get like a holo video of like Lando or something.
It'd be so cool to see a couple really like interesting things that are playing out in the rebellion from a different angle.
And one of the things I'm looking to see for in terms of enemy wise is not just standard stormtroopers, but they're actually going to bring the Imperial Inquisitors in as one of your antagonists, one of your enemies. It's going to be chasing you down through the game, realizing that you're a Jedi Padawan in hiding. Somehow you've survived. You're not fully trained, which gives you that reason of you got to kind of work with the Force and practice with your skills and kind of build a relationship with some of the people in the game that you come across to help kind of master the Force.
It like seeing Cal, if you guys don't know his name, Cal Kestis, and it's going to be his story. And we're going to be fighting, I imagine, a few different Inquisitors. We've already seen gameplay of him fighting the 9th Sister, I believe. Big, broly, like, alien, and it's a Jedi, like, with a dual lightsaber, and he's huge. Like, it's like, and then you got the 7th Sister, I believe you said.
Yeah, a lot of the Inquisitors were former Jedis or fallen Jedis. The Grand Inquisitor might possibly turn up in this game, maybe as a boss. He was in the Rebels TV show. That was fantastic.
I think we've seen 3 that are like confirmed. I can't remember the other one, but definitely 2 have been in like trailers and gameplay, and so there's definitely, we're getting into that type of.
And the Inquisition is ran by Darth Vader, so it might even have like a video clip of Darth Vader maybe giving them orders or something, and you got to sneak into a base. Anything's really possible, but the fact that it is in canon really means that whatever happens matters. So that's what I think is cool.
It being like shortly after, what is it? I think a few years after Order 66 has been put in place. So it's like the time has gone by, and these Inquisitors are out there like hunting down these Jedi.
Well,
and it's just that's gonna be so awesome to be running into them on this planet and that planet, and then like taking on And
in that action adventure mindset, it also adds a little bit of a separate layer of maybe on some of these larger, more populated worlds you'd have to go to, it's worthwhile to be stealthy and maybe not necessarily bust out your lightsaber and start fighting, stormtroopers right away. Maybe you just kind of have to act ho-hum and kind of sneak around.
You want to listen a little bit, know what's going on.
Which would, I imagine, only work for a little while until you start to get, more notorious throughout the galaxy kind of thing. But, still, it's a nice option that's on the table, which is cool.
This is definitely, I think, my most anticipated game of the year.
I wasn't originally kind of super hyped for it. I was a little worried, a little reticent.
Of course.
Because EA isn't always necessarily the best person to do a Star Wars game. But
the more I've seen of it, though.
The more I've seen, the more I've heard about it. It feels like it's scratching all the right itches in a way that you haven't had a Star Wars lightsaber combat game in a long time.
And one that, like, deals with a technical side of things, like a true Jedi side of things, and like we all played Force Unleashed. It's a great thing to compare this to because of the style of game it was, but that's the dark side of a super angry, like...
Well, you could play it light or
yes,
dark,
but he has Sith powers, and he's super angry dude that's just snapping, and like you're going towards the light side.
And they even say it in the name. It's a Force-focused power game.
Yeah,
Force Unleashed.
I was going to say, the reason I brought it up at all with that is the comparison of the gameplay style. Like, with it being slow and mindful and paceful is this game, whereas Force Unleashed is, like, all-out brawl.
And not only that, but you're fighting some of the stormtroopers that have the shock baton, the shock troopers. Yeah. So it is going to be like a melee-based game. You're not just going to be, deflecting lightsaber blasts, hoping the auto kind of AI deflect works for you. It seems like it's going to be one of those kind of things where it's a timing-based parry almost, like you would in a Dark Souls, where you have to time it right hit the blast back at them. I love it. Which I think that's going to be one of those huge little meta things that people really kind of in their mind try and practice. Like, I'm a Jedi. I can whip blaster bolts back.
It makes you feel like you're really in it. Like you're like, oh, it feels so good to just.
Right. My inner 10-year-old is very excited.
Oh man, it's killing me. And it's only like a week and a half out from recording today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, like this is like I said, I really think it's gonna end up getting Game of the Year. I haven't even played it yet, but the way people are talking, I think it's gonna get it.
I think it's got a very good shot. I think it's got a lot of games that are kind of running under the radar this year. I think this is going to be one of those years where it's like, hey, we had a lot of great B pluses. Yeah. How do you pick Game of the Year in a class full of Bs? You know what I mean?
Because we were talking about like Sekiro and Resident Evil 2, and it's like, oh. Well, I mean, they're good games.
And they're absolutely both great games, but they also came out like 9 months ago, 10 months ago.
People are forgetting about them.
And it's not as fresh, you know what I mean? So it makes you wonder if you're going to see maybe some DLC from some of those games before the end of the year, just to kind of squeak in to keep it in fresh.
Hey, check this out.
But that's a podcast for another time.
Yeah, you got that right. But that about wraps it up for what to expect from Star Wars Fallen Order. We've gotten into just a quick couple categories that we needed to get out there a little bit, let you guys know what you're looking at. And, we're real excited. You'll definitely see a review and a podcast or so of what we think of the game once we get our hands on it.
Yeah, please make sure you like and subscribe and comment in the bottom. Let us know what you want to see, whether it's more lightsaber battles or maybe you want to see some of the darker Sith powers, some Force lightning maybe. I don't know.
Of course people do. But no, they did mention, actually, that they weren't going to go down that at all.
No, because there hasn't been any real indicator of like a light-dark scale like you had in some of the other games. So
yeah, it's going to be an interesting. Let us know what you guys think of it so far, and if you're going to be grabbing it. I know I am. I already got that pre-ordered.
Oh yeah, we'll be having like an in-depth conversation on multiple occasions about this one. Maybe a standalone episode. We'll see.
All right, guys. Peace out and
keep on gaming as always.